Hello everyone, welcome back to another video in this series. This is episode 6. Today I'll be talking about Rarities. This note is very rare. It was a overstamp issue on a rare note in of itself. It is a 2500 Réis from Angola, issued in 1909. Now the main note here is issued for S.Thomé Príncipe, which is an island off of Guinea. But this was overstamped in 1909 for issue in Luanda, it says here. Now, as you can hear, I am sick. I apologize for being sick. But I shall talk about this note today as I have time to, for once. Let's just talk about the text. Banco Nacional do Maranhão, a very famous bank for issuing notes in overseas colonies of Portugal. This was the standardized African issue, issued from about 1908 to 1909. Most of all notes are issued 1909, and a few are issued 1908 for specimens and proof prints. Now, under Banco Nacional do Maranhão, we have O Tesouro da Filial em S.Thomé. Para a vista ao portador, 2.500 reis. Modelo corrente, valor recebido. And under that we have Pagaval na filial de Luanda. Now this basically translates to that the note will be payable at the S.Thomé branch in the sum of 2,500 reis. But of course this is counterstated in the Pagaval na filial de Luanda, which means it's payable in Luanda at the Luanda branch. So this was an overstamped note, assumably for the shortage of the specific note in Luanda at the time. This might have been a very common note, as this was the second smallest denomination. But the lowest denomination in this series is the 1,000 reis, which I do not have. I might look into getting one day, but they are quite expensive. All the notes in the 1909 issue series are expensive, especially higher up you go. With the 50,000 reis, very few were issued for general circulation. The rest were mostly issued for specimens and proof notes. Behind Pagaval na filial de Luanda, we have the image of, as it says, Passagem do Cabo de Boa Esperança. This is assumably from 1498. Now, Cabo de Boa Esperança is known today as the Cape of Good Hope. Now, this was on Vasco da Gama's voyage around Africa. He was the first to sail from Europe to India around the Cape of Good Hope, and this is the image depicted. Now, this is the same for the 5,000 reis, I believe. But higher in the series there are different depictions in this area. Underneath we have Lisboa, on de Março de 1909, and you have the governor and vice-governor signatures. Now to the left of the signatures we have the seal of the Banco Nacional do Maranhão. As you can see, it says Banco Nacional do Maranhão inside. It has a commercial ship, and under that it says Filial em S.Thomé. Now, with these, there are many types of seals. I believe this is the oldest seal, but I may be wrong. Above that, we have Colonias Comercio Agricultura, which is the motto for the bank. Now, this motto is found on all, if not all, Banco Nacional do Maranhão notes issued up until about the 70s or 80s, as this was their more colonial motto. One country was the only country that continued with the Banco Nacional do Maranhão, which still exists today, but is based in Macau, which was a Portuguese colony who didn't get rid of the Banco Nacional do Maranhão notes ever, due to being a colony up until 1999. Now we can see here we have a hand signature for the Orgerente. Now this is very impressive due to this being a over 100-year-old signature, which is a very long time ago. As you can see, it stand the test of time. However, there are different types of signatures. There are pencil signatures that tend to wear away more easily. This was an ink signature though. There are different types of signatures, as I said. There's quite a big one that I like, but I think that was only issued for Réis marks. Underneath the seal, we have the printer, a well-known printer company, Bradbury and Wilkinson. Now, I believe, in my opinion, Portuguese notes printed by Bradbury and Wilkinson and designed by Bradbury and Wilkinson are the best of all Portuguese notes. They had worked with Portugal and their overseas colonies up until probably the 70s or 80s. Now above at the top we have the shield of the Kingdom of Portugal. Now, the Kingdom of Portugal lasted until 1910, which made these notes in circulation only for about a year. This was issued under King Manuel II of Portugal, who ruled from 1908 to 1910, which means it wasn't a very long rule, and then after that, Portugal became a republic and overthrew the monarchy, which prompted the next series of notes issued in 1914. Although those were only centavo notes, those were cents notes, those were low denomination notes to supply places that needed cash. That it lasted till about 1921 under one series. However, after 1921, notes in Angola were issued under the privatized bank known as Banco de Angola, which started off with issuing their own currency called the Angolar. After that, they issued escudos, as it was more easy to exchange with Mozambique. Now that's about it for the front, besides, of course, the portrait of Vasco da Gama, who was, of course, a very, very famous Portuguese explorer. And he was depicted on all these notes besides the 1000, because the 1000 didn't have any portrait of anyone on it. Now, on the back of the note, we have this famous depiction on Banco Nacional Alternativa notes issued up until 1921, which is the image of the woman sitting by the dock looking at the ships. It's a very plain rear. Unfortunately, with a lot of these notes, the rear tends to get very damaged around about here, and that's for all older Banco Nacional Alternativa notes. The color at the back is predominantly blue. At the top it says Pagaval na filial de S.Thomé. Of course, this is not true because it was issued in Angola. There's not much to say about the rear. A normal, clean, depiction of it is very beautiful. However, of course, detail is not the best due to its folds and creases and holes that have come to it over time. But I still think it's a very beautiful depiction on the back of these notes, and it's something that drew me to these notes originally when I first got into Portuguese notes. But that's as much as I can say about this note. I paid an incredible $2.50 or so for it. Now this note is worth closer to $1,000. I average it about $1,000. If we look on eBay, they go for $1,250, so on and so forth. To my knowledge, none have been graded by PMG or the like, so which means this makes this note very rare. I haven't seen any good condition ones. I don't think there are any good condition ones, as these were issued in very, very small quantities. There are not many around. Even the base note is rare as it is. Now, that being said, this is a very, very good note to own. It is very important to Portuguese African history, and I don't think I'll ever sell this note. I believe over time this might even gain value because of how rare it is. And it's a very beautiful note. All the notes issued in the series are pretty beautiful. They have this old style feel to it, the old Portuguese style feel to it. And yeah, this note is decent for what it is. Lots of them are in even worse shape. This one's still relatively clean. There is, of course, a big cut here. There are hole marks. It is rather weak around the center, and the corners are very much gone. But yeah, as I said, it's very beautiful. One last thing I just want to point out is this part here. So in cursive, you might not be able to read it well, but it says Banco Nacional Alternativa. Now, what you would have had is an extra piece of paper that had like signatures and stuff. Now this is very rare to find them because these notes were sort of issued in books, and the books would be cut here and be given out to people, and there would be a counter issue part here, which makes the bank aware of the existence of the note. So each note assumably has a counterpart. However, I don't think the counterparts lasted as long as the main banknote did. Now thank you for tuning into this video. I'm sorry for the many cuts through the video. I'm very sick, as you can hear, as I apologized for, but I decided I needed to do this video as this note interests me greatly. But as I said, thank you for watching. I will hopefully post soon. I don't collect as much as I used to, but I'm trying. So, bye. I'll see you in another one.